Hi, how you doing, everybody? Welcome to the show. Thanks so much for hanging out. Oh, I kind of bumped it into the herd. I gotta go like that. I gotta go like this. Hi, everybody. Plenty of time to get it right. How's everybody doing? Hope you're doing well. I see we've got our old friends out there. We've got our new friends too. And are you kidding me? Of course. Of course. Of course. Hey, everybody. How we doing? Hope you're doing well. I also just realized that, yep, it's getting, oh, this is why. There we go. All right, we've got all of our parts all together. Hope we're somewhat well lit. And why are we freezing? I think we're good now. Probably because I got like 15,000 things open. It's nothing to do with the bandwidth. Yeah, I mean, listen, you spend a couple $100 on something, then they say, yeah, it works for a little bit, and then it doesn't. And that's just kind of the way it goes. So we've got some exciting news here today. News and notes for everybody involved. Yeah, I don't know why this isn't. Oh, I see why. There's actually a challenge with the network requirements. Can't connect to this network. That makes no sense. That's why that wouldn't let me in. Ooh, and the hidden network. That's always a good one. So I hope that we can stay on this one here. This is like the last thing I wanted to have, like, be a part of this right now. Sorry that this is the beginning of my more than exciting show. So anyways, what's new in the news? Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are seeing the world for what it is right now instead of letting it dictate to you how the world is working. Yeah, Mercury retrograde. We will certainly talk about that a little bit more here in a little bit. Spirit is playing games. How was my birthday? My birthday was wonderful. Thanks so much for asking. I will also tell you, I'm about to do something kind of risky. Hold on. Hope we're good. Hope we're good. I just turned off the Wi-Fi and I'm just plugged in. So, all of a sudden, we no longer have any glitches because there's no more Wi-Fi download. Now we can get down to business. Just us girls. What are we going to do now? Lion. I love how you call them that. We're going to talk about those really fun things that we have poking around here. Of course, it doesn't fucking work. Jesus Christ. Yeah, da da da. Okay. We're just going to go and dial in and go from there. Oh, look at this. It's all connected now. Da-ding. It's what happens when you, like, look to cut people off. Like, say, hey, listen, we're going to make tariffs on you. And then they go, that's okay. We'll build our plants here in the United States. Do you see that bully move? The pickles are cloudy. Well, there's something to that. Is it so fuzzy? Is it really? Stay right here. Stay right here. Back in here. Hey, everybody. How we doing? I hope this is better. Did a little reset on the whole thing. Why this is a conversation. Happy Tariffs Day. Yeah, right. Um, it's funny that we're going down this whole path about tariffs, about talking about all of the challenges that the world is kind of presenting to us right now. And it's all kind of an illusion. We're going to talk about that. I am going to go to the astrology, but I'm going to do it a little bit backwards here. I want to talk about the challenges that we're having here in the bigger picture here. And I'm going to tell you guys, don't worry. I know that a lot of spiritual natured people are kind of like, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Carolyn. Hey, Janet, how are you? Phoenix and Night Rose, good to see you again today. Janet. Black Bell, good to see you. Trish. Paula. Tracy. Janice. Only the left channel here. Yeah, I don't get what the freak is going on with this. Boom. How about that one? I took off everything off of the mic. I hope I come burning through. Thank you for the heads up on that, by the way. Here we go. Now we're much, much better. Hey, B, how are you? Well, happy to be here. Hi, Lillian. I don't think I forgot your birthday on Facebook. Thank you so much. I sent out a reminder just in case. I thought somebody's, Facebook was maybe a little bit broken. Oh, by the way, I totally just figured out half of the crap. Hey, Laura, how are you? Thank you. Leslie, good to see you. So, there will be a little bit of freezing. That's going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to stop using TP and switch to script. Oh my gosh. Brenda, how are you? And the sound is better now. Yeah, for whatever reason, we're just going to keep going. All right, guys. So, a couple of news and notes here. Those of you that have already signed up for the Tarot of the Month Club, and by the way, just to let you know, you're signing up for it now. It goes out the first week in April. So you're signing up now. You get the brand new Wild Reflections Tarot deck. It is out there on the website, tbrandonross.com. I'm going to go ahead and say that. And then you're also going to get a link to the class. We're going to talk about how to break down the deck. You get to spend a night with me, really. I mean, that's what it is. There are about 12 or so of the decks left. We are doing a limited run as we build this up because I have to pre-buy it, everybody, and we're not going to do that. We're not going to buy 1,000 of them. We're going to buy just enough. So you want to get in there. Yes, Michelle, thanks so much. I saw that there. Definitely expect an email from me here in probably next Monday, just to kind of give you an update to say to see how to see what the progression is. Make sure you guys know that you're signed up. Everything's okay. Also, due to drop in April will be the re-release of Funny You Should Say That. You can get this awesome shirt here. Read Band Books. Says it right there. Get my little logo right there in the center. I love this shirt. By the way, it only comes in women's V-necks, which is a little awkward for me, but I'll get by. Just to let you know. Women's V-necks. I know my audience. And by the way, I know I skipped a few slides here. Here's the Tarot of the Month Club. Also want to remind you guys, last chance. Actually, we had a little bit of a delay here. Sandy's going to get started next week, so if you're still interested in this crystal healer certification, you are going to want to drop her a message at crystalsforthejourney@gmail.com. crystalsforthejourney@gmail.com, or find her at Crystals for the Journey on Facebook and out in IG land. There's the Read Band Books. Oh, let's talk about this asshole. What a segue. Sorry, Sand. I'm making friends everywhere today. It has just not been a good... Brandon, let's talk about Brandon's geopolitical self. Brandon, that's a wonderful thing to say. Heather, you don't need previous experience. We're going to walk you through the deck itself. It's a great way to build your library, though. So let's talk about this freaking guy. Yeah, Jim, you just nailed it. Don't steal my thunder, buddy. This was perhaps the lowest point, just when you think we can't go any lower. The guy on, there are two people in this picture. There is someone that is standing up for a country. There is someone that is basically leading the free world. There is someone that has shown so much valor and so much distinction and honor in his behavior, in his loyalty to his people, and his constant progressive thought process to keep the free world free. The other asshole is Donald Trump. That was one of the worst. And listen, the whole look at that, it's a strong leader. Look at that, there's somebody that's able to stand up to Ukraine. Ukraine directly was caused because the man on the right tried to extort money from the man on the left. The man on the right tried to extort information that was real or not real. He was okay with fabrication. And let me tell you something about fabrication. Having been a person that has had people just make stuff up because their life was either boring or I told them no, is flat out the most horrific moment of my life. And today's the 5-year anniversary. So my light and love to those that I have said no to. By the way, anybody that ever says anything disparaging about me, every single person that would ever say anything bad about me, it's because of one reason. It's because I told them no. So, Volodymyr Zelensky, I understand your position. You said no to the brazen dickhead to the right that thought that he could extract information about Joe Biden. And by the way, there was nothing there, guys. That's the worst part about this. It would have been fabricated. This was beyond reproach. And anyone that's still beating their chest, it's over to me. Like, I'm getting to the point where I'm cutting people off. And you can say, oh, Brandon, you're dividing the country. No. And let me tell you why Donald Trump is no Anthony Soprano. And if he is, he only made junior varsity. In Film Vita Voldemort. Tony Soprano, and those of you that are a fan of the show, Tony Soprano actually had an internal dialogue that was constantly in a tumultuation. The problem was that he was a crime boss with a conscience. He didn't want to kill Vito because he was gay. He actually looked at it as a business transaction. I mean, albeit operational, albeit transactional. He's like, he's Vito. He bought me my boat. He didn't want Junior to go down the way that he went down because he still wanted to respect the family. He wanted to protect Meadow. He didn't want AJ in the business. He genuinely felt bad what he did to Carmela over time. He didn't want to see Johnny Sachs go out the way he did. He didn't want to see Christopher be that show is ultimately about, in my opinion, how Adrian has to go. Like, if you watch it close enough, Chris is being set up for the entire show. Right? All the way. Can you hear me now? And it's interesting that he would literally complain, right? Hold on. Is this better? Yeah, there we go. That Trump and then his little yip yip dog, JD Vance, is like, yeah, you come in here and you blah, 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 blah. yeah, boss. What do you want, Spike? Yeah, Spike, what do you want? JD Vance can go suck it. He should. And by the way, wasn't it funny that he was sitting on the couch? I'm just going to say that. He wasn't. He was in a chair, but he was eyeballing that couch. He was like, I came in here with a suit. But here is this guy in a shitty fucking spray tan lecturing a guy that had bullets flying past his head 72 hours before this picture was taken. One of these men, if they really wanted to go WWE, drop the two of them in the middle of a ring, and I give it 22 seconds. And the only reason why I give it 22 seconds is because he gives them mercy for the first 20. The man on the right's never been punched in the face. He's always cried foul. The man on the left said, oh, you want what? I'm going to defend this to my death. Donald Trump is the biggest P on the face of the planet. And I'm getting really close to language that probably isn't acceptable by my audience. But there is nothing manly about the man on the right. There's nothing. Zero. He is all about the money, which I don't disparage him for. He's all about the, I'm a celebrity, whatever. You're going to disrespect the only thing between the United States and Russia. If you don't understand the dominoes that could fall by the manipulation of Russia taking over Ukraine, you've never paid attention to the geopolitical nature of who we are. You've never paid attention to an ounce of, oh, that's right. He can't read. I don't know if any of you saw this or not, but Prince Charles sent him a letter. I'm sorry, King Charles sent him an actual fucking king sent him a letter for him to read, and then he avoided reading it in front of everybody because he can't read. He is a functional, barely illiterate. Donald Trump is a giant embarrassment. I will reiterate your words, everybody. Thank you, Magical Mermaid. He watches news. Wait till I come up with the end of this, guys. You're gonna go, oh, now I get it. Because let's go to the next step here. Remember when the U.S. voted against the UN resolution condemning Russia for the Ukraine war? The Trump administration basically said it was a non-issue. Why are we taking a vote? We had condemned it before. So condemn it again. When this was brought up in the UN, it was a litmus test for where Trump stood. And he failed in the eyes of the world. I want you all to imagine this. We are now asking the world for help with a dictator in our backyard. By the way, I learned of 5 more people that lost their job that I know because of the Trump administration. But let's talk about money, 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 because that's really what this is all about, right? I mean, come on. What's the grift? $5 million to be a citizen? Anybody else waiting for that tax bill to come in? Yeah, J.D. Vance was booed in Vermont. Of all the states to go to, you go to probably, arguably, the most liberal state in the union. And by the way, it has its conservative principles. It is actually one of the tightest fiscally run states in the union. And oh, by the way, they provide for everybody. They also don't have a lot of people to take care of by capita. But good Lord. Here is the Trump era, 2016, Dow Jones Industrial Average, when he took office. Right? So he came in here. He came in 2016, and the market steadily rose, right? There was a change from the election, and there was a general optimism. And listen, I get it to a certain degree. If you put yourself back there, it was a total understanding of him wanting to change the lexicon. And people were ready for I mean, that's what they voted for in 2016. Screw all of the sins of Hillary Clinton. Screw all of the dynamics that old politics were. Let somebody in there that can really whatever. And as we know now, Trump was basically faced with 3 3/4 years of absolute frustration because of things like, I don't know, laws. But the optimism here is what I want you to recognize. Now let's take a look since the inauguration. By the way, here it is. It crashed on inauguration day. And then it slowly built up again. And then all of a sudden, all of these tariff talks, this is when the tariff stuff was announced. I don't know if you guys can see my arrow, but just inside the February here, that's where it dropped again. Then it came up again, then it dropped again, came up again. And by the way, some of the reasons for these spikes and these drops again were directly related to Elon. And him being announced certain things in Doge, certain things in contracts, and blah, blah, blah. His cancellation of the Verizon contract to help with national security and the voting stuff, by the way. It's just insane, guys. They're doing away. In the meantime, they have gotten rid of solicitor generals, which are the people that audit the stuff that Doge is doing right now. It's just horseshit. Well, then you have Tesla. Let us take a closer look, huh? So, in the last 3 months post-election, you watch it hit the high water mark of 484, right around December 10th. This is the Tesla publicly traded stock. Tesla, in mid-December, is when Trump announced that Elon Musk would be part of his cabinet. Then it respiked again when they said what he would be in charge of, which is Doge. That led to a tremendous sell-off. That tremendous sell-off has brought us down to 272. Since inauguration, it's lost 26%. Right? What it's really lost is about 40% total. Now, anybody who is familiar with stocks, is familiar with bonds, and by the way, their P/E at 132 is an atrocious ratio. In other words, he's not capable of proving that Tesla is a viable company. I mean, forget about all of the stuff about how it's getting stuck in snow, it's exploding, the ice is forming on the headlights, and they can't whatever. It's like, it's incredible to me that and by the way, it's a setup, and I'm going to tell you when it's going to end because you're going to love it. I'm going to even call it a date, or at least a date range. So the way that Elon Musk makes money isn't through the sale of his cars. That actually goes to his stockholders. But he siphons the top of what the stockholders pay. So he's already made his money. Now, the other thing that you may ask is, what about SpaceX? Well, SpaceX is a private company. It's not publicly traded. However, they have two primary investors, both of which have been taking hits to the chin. Now, they've been up in the last couple of days, but by and large, they're down about 18%, which is still pretty significant. It's not quite the 45% or the 26 cents inauguration day. But it is 100%, right? That's funny. What is this guy up to? Like, genuinely, what is this guy up to? Is this guy up to, I don't know, being able to mask what he's actually doing? Is he able to talk about it in a way that he's, I mean, what does a South African nationalist that got dual citizenship for tax purposes, because that's why he got it, was for tax purposes, everybody. Because as a foreign national in the United States, he would have been held at a 48% tax rate for making money in the United States. Instead, he's closer to about 24%. He pays kind of roughly what most of this group might pay. And listen, is he not human? I'm going to tell you, yes, Magical Mermaid is onto something. There's three things going on here. And I'm going to show it to you in astrological terms with this eclipse coming up, right? I'm going to go back here for a second and show you the Dow Jones. What has been going on with the Dow Jones and what is up against the back end of this? And we have to understand history a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and break screen here and pull this back. And then I'm going to move it to the chart here. So in 1919, 1920, the United States decided that everyone needed to turn over their gold because they wanted to create the gold standard and elevate the gold standard. So then we would be strong against the dollar. The dollar would become a strong currency. And on the surface, it sounds like a really good idea. However, the eminent domain possession taking of gold, in essence, basically stripped common surplus and common ownership of gold. That was then redistributed after we were moved off the gold standard permanently in between 1971 and 1973. Nixon basically did a series of steps that basically made the gold like worthless again. Not worthless, but not connected to the dollar. Then the United States government sold off those gold bullions. You know, that's why there's no gold in Fort Knox, which good luck trying to find, Elon. You're going to be your own little national treasure, dickhead. And what we did at that time is we redistributed the gold out there. Well, the ones that could actually afford the gold at the time were the giant network hedge funds. Things like Merrill Lynch, so forth and so on. So you have all these groups that were buying the gold. That's why now you have, if you listen to conservative talk radio, they will tell you, buy your munitions, buy your generators, make sure that you have your supplemental food. I'm going to be okay up to 90 days. I'm going to have this delicious MREs that I'm going to just add potable water to. My urine can be turned into a delicious meal. And you're going to pay for the next 33 years installments. And I'm just going to send you things that will just fluff into amazing Julia Child type level emerald. I mean, it's Flavor Town is what I'm saying. And these little packets of love. And they're coming. They're coming from the South. They're coming from the north, and who knows what China's going to do. North Korea could take you out tomorrow. You're going to need my RMEs, my MREs. You know what you're going to be able to do? You're going to be able to live off the land because I'm going to show you how to buy a buck knife. Oh, also, why don't you buy my gold standard coin? And I had it reprinted. It's got our Lord Savior, Jesus Trump on the front of it. It's gold, just like his complexion, his hair, his worth, his heart, his golden heart. You can buy a golden heart today for just $49.99. It comes through the Franklin Mint, and through me, I take a little cut of that. You sure you can understand? After all, we are in America. And thank God I know which bathroom to go in. Did you ever think that everybody's transphobic because they're actually gay and it actually talks about a topic that they've never really explored because they've never been free to do it? I'm sorry, that's just my brain never shutting off. But all you got to do is just gird up your loins and follow us to the promised land of being able to live off the land, just like God showed us. You know, not that I want to be religious about this, but Jesus was an immigrant most of his life. He was born in a foreign country. He wasn't welcome. He was running away from oppression. When he returned, he was uncounted, undocumented. At 12 years old, he took off again. There is some sincere evidence that if there was a Jesus, sorry I said it, but if the Jesus that we tale together in the Bible, tailed together with historical value, he went somewhere because his teachings are drastically different from 12 years old. Up to 12, it was very much about the Old Testament and regurgitating the Old Testament. And then from age 30 to 33 till he was allegedly crucified, nobody showed evidence. Let's just say Pontius Pilate wouldn't be convicted today because he'd say, like, I don't, prove it. Oh, the book, just because somebody writes a book about somebody's crucifixion doesn't mean I actually did it. Besides, the glove doesn't fit. You must acquit. Johnny Cochran, here at the basic Golgotha. You can't blame my client for crucifying. He's just doing what the people asked him to do. Ask Barabbas how it went. Am I pulling them all out today? I think I am. Oh, yeah, and actually the Tammy Faye Baker thing, the Jim Baker thing, is 100% on point. There is a sincere lineage between evangelical preachers and survival kits. They want the end of the world. So what they're doing is they're stealing your day-to-day life because they would rather see you be in fear. Look at that freeze frame. Holy shit. I'm glad I brushed today. Right? But listen, let's take an honest conversation here for a second and talk about why they would trash the dollar. Why they would say screw you to Ukraine, figuratively and literally. Why would they shut off the valve to the middle of the United States? They want chaos. They're playing chicken with this. They're the ones that sit there and like punch somebody and then hide behind and go, protect me, protect me. PTL Pass the Loot. I remember that one. Yeah, Johnny Cochran had his moments. By the way, I don't disparage defending lawyers to be over the top because they don't have a case. They never had a case. They screwed up the evidential part of it, right? And the one racist cop, it was Farron, that guy there. He was the real back end of it. I apparently need to drop kick my series here yet. Of course he did. And you know, here we go. Are you guys ready for this? So all of these things are really kind of portraying an instability, right? Captain Chaos, Mr. Orange himself, is developing a consistent trend of an instability within our government. He doesn't follow the rules. Elon Musk is an illegal placement in the United States government. You can't just say, here's a department, and then have you sign off on it and go, here you go. And by the way, our limp-wristed, jackass, wet noodle politicians that are in office right now need to grow a spine, walk in there and say this is illegal. But they're too afraid of him. They're too afraid of him. And rightfully so, because who's going to uphold this? A court? What court do you bring it to? The kangaroo court that's a bunch of conservatives going, oh, he can do whatever. A lower court ruled today that he should be held accountable for January 6th. It is in question that he tried to stage a coup. And he wasn't held accountable because the slow workings of the government, of the justice system, which also creates the number of illegal immigrants that we have in this country, that also creates the number of free Donald Trumps today. And you mean to tell me that with all of this, oh my God, we can't let any foreigners in here because they're rapists, they kidnap, they're they drug people, they're the Tate brothers. How do you, with an ounce of consciousness, let two brothers that are currently being investigated and on trial in the country that they are awaiting conviction? They went to Mar-a-Lago, people. And you're going to sit here and tell me that the Epstein files matter at this point? You're going to tell me? You're going to tell me that you have two brothers that had an enterprise that exploited women, and they can say, oh, well, they were paid and they were whatever. Got it. The threshold of the law was met in Romania, which is not known for a lot of its law-abiding citizens, might I add. They're not known for their really tough, take on things like treatment of women. So for them to have pissed off some sort of court in Romania, they were guilty. Then they take all of those list of charges and say, well, we should be able to let them go because Donald Trump's on the phone. Donald Trump is helping chaos happen. Now he's causing it in Romania. He has caused it everywhere he goes. Look up Trump, Scotland, golf course. You will see an entire town stand up to him. And like a crybaby, he's like, you don't even know I was going to help you. Like he did Atlantic City? Like he did Mar-a-Lago? You ran the price down so then they eventually just put it to auction and you bought it on auction? Because you think you're smart? So by destabilizing the government, the dollar, and now the world norm, so to speak, I think Biden really served in his capacity. And we can be critical about Biden. We can be critical about the choice of Kamala. We can be critical about the Democrats not having their act together at any point of this. Because this was an easy target by all traditional standards in conservative politics. Like this guy is atrocious on every level. And the people that were hedging their bets going, well, Donald Trump's not that bad. Oh, by the way, a note to Elise Stefanik. From everybody in the state of New York, you don't represent us anymore. You really aren't a representative of the people here. And feel free to stop by in Albany. Just let me know when you'll be there. I would love to have a conversation with you. I'd love to have you on the podcast. And I would like to ask you the following. Why are you selling out the people of New York for your own career? You can get back to me on that. Right? You've got rapists in Mar-a-Lago. Listen, somebody's got to hold down the fort. Am I right? Finger shooters. I could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue. Am I right? By the way, I'm quoting Donald Trump. So here's my bold prediction. What you're here and what you're seeing is the eclipse. I've got Key West down on here. I don't know why. Somebody's got a vacation planned. The full moon that is occurring, and by the way, technically a full moon happens during the entire opposition of the sign. So in other words, we have at the top of this, in the 9th house, we have the moon, which will be in full, because in opposition down here at the bottom is the sun. 23 degrees Pisces to 23 degrees Virgo. Hope you follow along. Then you have some really sincere, holy crap moments here in this chart. Are you guys ready? I feel like I want to talk like the weasel. I fucking love my job. You have Venus in retrograde. You have Mercury that will be in retrograde. They're both moving backwards. The full moon eclipse will be happening while it's in the 3rd house. What's the 3rd house? I remember reading this somewhere in one of my upcoming books coming out. Oh yeah, the 3rd house is about communication. Or as Stephen Pearcy once said, lack of communication, lack of. In the sage in the promised land. Then in the 9th house, you have the moon. Oh, by the way, that's also conjunct with the north node with the sun, and the south node to the moon. What does that mean, bro? What could that possibly mean? Here in the mutable sign of Pisces and Virgo. And by the way, let's do a little recap about what mutable means. So, just to go through the attributes in the alchemy of astrology, you have 3 types of sign. Now, you have things like fire signs, water signs, earth signs, and air signs, right? But then you also have what forms the quadrants, which is the cardinal signs. Those are the initiators, right? Those are the ones that say, I've got an idea. By the way, the cardinal signs are the things like, I don't know, Aries, Cancer, Capricorn. One more in there. The cardinal signs, Libra, sorry, Libra. Can't forget you. And those signs go, hey guys, I've got an idea. And then they go, let's go make a good thing. Let's go have a great thing. Okay, everybody? Something's broken. We got to fix it. And then they go, okay, all right, here we go. And then they hand it off to the fixed signs. Well, the fixed signs are Taurus, Scorpio. It is also Leo, and of course, Aquarius. And each one of the fixed signs kind of put their little dab-a-doo in it. Right? The fixed signs are kind of like but this is the way we always did it. Right? You know, Taurus is like, well, we must be good. We must be honored. We must live within the honor code. And then the Leos go, we must do what is right. And then the Scorpios come along and say, you know, we should really do this in a way that we understand ourselves, and then we also, you know, we're not saying that we all have to do it, but we have to preserve ourselves in all of this. And then the Aquarians come along and they go, oh, greater good is coming, motherfucker. We're going to take you out. We don't really care. We're going to do this. Gotcha. Now, by the time the cardinal energy has worked with it, and by the time the fixed energy has kind of had its way with it, the mutable energy comes along. The mutable energy turns around and says to the fixed as well as the cardinal, they're like, listen, guys, we're gonna take it from here. We're gonna kind of do this, right? Cardinal, great idea. Yes, it's broken. Yes, it's not perfect. Process improvement in place. We see what you're doing, buddy. Cardinal signs. We got you. And then Fixed signs. Listen, tradition. We understand. We understand that there are things that we shouldn't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We should actually come through this in true fashion, right? And then, hot diggity damn, the mutable signs come in and say, we're going to take all your suggestions, all your ideas, and we're actually going to use our creativity and our moldability and actually take all that into consideration. We don't know if we're going to 100% get it right, but we're going to move it forward from the cardinal idea from the fixed hiccups to where it is that we need to go. You have an eclipse happening in mutable energy, in a communication sign. Oh, and the moon, the subconscious, the thing that's going to get shelled a little bit, that's going to be like, Earth, what are you doing? It's cold over here. What are you doing? What are you doing? Give me a blanket. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. What are you doing? It's going to sit there in the south node energy and get cut off. Whatever's being fed for whatever's feeding this administration is going to get cut off. Maybe it's ketamine. Maybe it's protection. Maybe it's safety. But by the way, the cardinal energy of Capricorn is the rising position right here. And I don't know if you, by the way, coming up in my book, I'm playing around with the verbiage, but Capricorn could care less about your feelings or about the outcome. Capricorn's got to get what Capricorn wants. And this very harsh energy has everything to do with money. Capricorn rising here is such a telltale sign of the secrets of money. Donald Trump should not drop the soap in the next 25 days because there is only one position that they are going to put him in. Elon Musk is going to do a very bold move because he's a hobbyist. He's not an entrepreneur. He doesn't actually understand science. He just knows the buzzwords. So then people that are marginally educated that kind of have a perusal idea as to what those things are makes him some sort of great virologist or whatever. You're dealing with two incredibly borderline ignorant men. And by the way, I call them borderline because... Oh, I got you on that one. I see your comment on that, Kat. Well spoken. I'm going to get to that too. The part of it that's going to come crashing through in all of this is you also have Neptune at the 29th degree Anarech, which is illusions being either exasperated or being crushed. By the end of the month, we have both Capricorn and Saturn. We have both Neptune and Saturn that will move into Aries. These illusions between this eclipse and May 24th, when all of these move into Aries, all of their illusions are going to get exposed. That's why he wanted control of the army. That's why he wanted control of workers that would question him. You don't get rid of the investigators because you're about to do something legit. Astrologically speaking, by Memorial Day, the United States ceases to exist. Sorry, guys. In the coup de grace, Elon Musk will become an enemy of the state. During that transaction will be the purchase of Truth Social for a ridiculously unsavory amount of money that's been siphoned off of the top of the government through Doge. X will purchase Truth Social for an exorbitant amount of money. And that is the payoff. That is what that is. And by the way, Truth Social will get some basic maintenance, but it will never, ever, it'll just fade away. It'll get absorbed. Elon Musk is going to get cut loose, and he's going to be hung in the square. The only thing that he has going for him is that he has these quote-unquote government contracts. Donald Trump will villainize him 6 ways to Sunday. And then he's going to have a little Spike Vance behind him going, yeah, boss, what do you want to do now? Huh, Spike? Huh? It is spineless what is going on. And by the way, you will talk to Trumpers and say, you don't see this? And they'll go, I think it's great. He's an entrepreneur. The part where he closed down things. Trump has a history of puppet making, a history of shutting people out, a history of using them. And then once it gets close to Trump, he'll say, oh, no. Oh, look at that. That's kind of cool. And then when you get close to Trump, he's going to go, here's your Elon. Here. Have your Elon. And by the way, they're going to pull off some sort of military conquest that will go wrong. And by the way, Pete Hegseth will get hung in the square for that. And by the way, when I say hung in the square, can I clarify that? I don't think that they will be physically hung there, but in the point of public opinion, he will leave them to be hung out to dry, and he doesn't really care what the masses do with them. He didn't care what happened to Mike Pence. He's not going to care about you. By the way, did J.D. Vance have a conversation with Mike Pence ever about this? No, we don't. Listen, we have a dysfunctional government. By the way, get your taxes done, especially if they owe you money. Especially if they owe you money. Get it in there now while they have it. This is going to be margin call time, guys. This is going to be foreign investors going, the United States is not a good investment anymore. And by the way, do they have points? I just want to give you guys a little bit of perspective on how much money Doge has exposed. Are you ready? Doge has exposed, I remember when they said it was like $80 billion, it was closer to $8 million because of an accounting error. Because, they're not accountants. What's happening is they're finding these things that they are calling illegal, but what it really is an opinion. It is your opinion that money should not go to whatever villainous things it is, whether it's a transgender this or a foreign aid for that, food for children, like fucking asshole children, to get a job, right? Like, it's your opinion that we shouldn't fund those things. We should let them suffer. Because, the idea that they're so militant that, if we let them get up off the ground, they'll just pick up a gun and shoot us. It's that level of paranoia. Even though they're children that are victims of circumstance because they're born into a family that happened to be in the Middle East, and they had a radicalized parent or two that made them kind of look at it in a different way. And then you're like, well, how do you stop that thing? Well, exterminate. They're kids. They're kids. If we were patient, if we were mature, if we knew who we were ourselves, at the end of the day, this is just global mirror work. And we are getting our proverbial ass handed to ourselves. Without merit. And the lesson that we're going to learn, and when I say the metaphoric or the proverbial country not being here, the functional parts that we rely on are gone. So here's the proverbial here. All of this work that Doge has done, the billions of dollars, blah, 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 the misaccounting stuff. By the way, have they actually arrested a single person for all of this misconduct? Have they actually found any of these people getting Social Security money? I think 2, right? And guess what? That's the way the law works. When you audit something and you find out that somebody's doing something wrong, you go and you ask them questions and you give them an opportunity to clear up what they've found. But when you can't clear it up, then you have to rely on the law and say, I'm sorry, you have been collecting money that wasn't owed to you and we need that money back. You're under arrest. We're going to take you in. That's called, I don't know, the law. That's the way it's been set up for a long time. It was not broken. It just needed to be executed. Doge comes in and decides that they're morally going to take money away from people, which, by the way, was voted on by Congress or our representatives, depending upon what the aid package was. Ultimately, it went through our legislature. We voted for it. And Donald Trump and Doge just kind of walks in and says, well, that's waste. Their opinion of what it's being spent on is waste. Right? The struggle with this, and it is a huge struggle, is that the cat is out of the damn bag. There is no more representation for us because our congressmen, our representatives should have said, guys, we voted on that. If you want to come in here and take that away from them, that's fine. But you don't get to call it waste. Got it? Here is the perspective. This country is heavily leveraged. Of all the taxpayer dollars that you spend by sending it in, the biggest expenditure by far of the United States is interest. That's it. The amount of money that we spend on interest alone will never let us get out of debt. Not at a current spend rate. The number one line item in the United States audit has been since 1928 the United States military. We outspend more than 25 times more than the next closest non-Russia country. We have, without a doubt, lost our way. We have, without a doubt, and by the way, how much is that? I mean, the only thing that they've gotten rid of military is the top brass that would tell him no. The people that would audit him directly. The people that actually know the law and would uphold the Constitution. Yeah, we get rid of those people. He's kind of a little bit like wishy-washy. Like, you hired me to do a job. You didn't hire me to uphold a piece of paper. Well, I uphold the Constitution. Well, you want me to read this? You want me to read this right here in front of everybody? It's not a cognition test we need. It's a fucking reading test. You can't pass that. But we're so vilified with making sure that we get revenge on people. I have every reason to seek revenge on the people that have absolutely tried to mishandle my trust. But I don't. I draw boundaries. I learn lessons. I instill a next step. But ultimately, it's on the people that aren't willing to learn the truth. It's like Ted Lasso said. I kind of like what Walt Whitman had to say. Be curious. We're not curious anymore. We're scared. Our great scientists are being plucked off daily. Not because they're being taken out or shamed. They're being repurposed into cogs. They're being repurposed into people that will have to fight for what they get. It's been a little too cushy for everybody else, which is ironic because what Donald Trump went through during the 4 years where he wasn't in office it wasn't retribution, it was consequences. I say this to my 13-year-old who, without a doubt, loves to be able to circumvent anything that might be uncomfortable to him. In other words, if you take away his phone, he's going to try and figure out how to get another device. He's kind of a little bit of an addict, quite frankly. Because the way that he acts is he wants to always kind of have. Well, found out that he wasn't getting any of his work done. And I sat there in a room full of teachers, and I politely said to him, you have lost every single thing that gets plugged in the house. Because except for the refrigerator, everything else is gone. I want you to, whatever you're going to eat, I want it to be raw. Like, all right, that was a little over the top. Little Cambodia camp, I was kind of playing around with the idea. So he could have the toaster in the air fryer. But I had to explain to him, 13 years old, that he wasn't in trouble. And he says, well, it feels like I'm in trouble. And I said, no. If you were in trouble, it would be because you intentionally did something to hurt another person. That's when you're in trouble. This is a consequence. And consequences aren't punishment. Consequences are, you need to get this done. Consequences are you chose an action, and this is the result. The result is that we're about to go into a vacation week, and you don't have your work done. You haven't done the work that you were supposed to do. The consequence is you don't have any electronics until that gets done. So with that in mind, oh, he hustled. Oh, damn, did he get it done? Now, I might explain his 38 average in English, but whatever. It's done, ain't it? We can work on the fine-tuning as we go along. But step one was the part of it that was the consequence needed to be applied. He needed to understand that and by the way, he didn't have it for 72 hours. First couple of days into vacation, he didn't have it. And by the way, everything's electronic, so we were able to see what his progress was, how it got done, if it got done. Well, what about this? Well, what about this? Oh, I left that paper at school. Well, you knew the consequence. It's all done. You won't have anything until it comes back. Oh my God, here's the paper right here. No shit, Sherlock. It's amazing what a 13-year-old will pull out of his ass when he's told he can't have electronics. I'm glad I froze right there because my face was probably distorted. But what we begin to kind of understand is that here was if I didn't put my foot down, if there wasn't some sincere planning and some severe consequential action with follow through, there is the potential that my kid could become Trump, or at least act like him. Like, well, if there's never any consequence, then whatever. And listen, even in my own upbringing, I always knocked the sentence down. Always. I was probably too good at it, to be honest. I probably could have used a few more consequences when I was growing up. The consequence. And by the way, let's be honest, just because I told a nun to kiss my ass, I don't think that really deserved a 2-week sentence. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. I mean, I didn't say suck my, but I kept it clean, kind of. Hey, kiss my ass. It was under my breath. It wasn't done out of disrespect. I said a Hail Mary as I said it. Kiss my ass in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Right? I'm not here to scare you guys tonight. I'm really not. I'm giving you doses of reality. I'm giving you the real because we need to deal in reality. I was watching a channel the other day, doesn't matter who, but they were still talking about the fire and brimstone of astrology. They were talking about how dire warnings and all of their stuff and blah, blah, blah. Good Lord. What are we doing? What are we doing here? Listen, the spiritualist community, whether it's local here in the Capital District, you guys are circle jerking each other, telling how you're so great and everybody's so amazing and all this other stuff. And I'm all for a pep rally. I really am. But get out of your own goddamn way. You're all grifters. Which, by the way, is what got me in trouble in the first place. I wanted integrity in my shop. I didn't want somebody that would come in and call someone else a shit show to their face while they were in a moment of vulnerable nature. I would stand up for that person again, even though she turned on it too. I will still defend people that I know will eventually might not stand up for me. Ring a bell, shaman? I know you watch. You accidentally clicked like one day. I'll continue to do the things that my moral compass and my entire self-reliance is based on. Because if there's one thing that I learned during the pandemic, owning a small shop, was that nobody came to save me. I learned that PPP loans went to people like Eric Jr. I learned that companies that got stifled from the... By the way, these are the same people that are out there going, you can't have government handouts. Go back and look at the PPP loan list. It is a large percentage of the people that are now crying, don't send money to Ukraine. Fuck you. You took government handouts. Well, at least we keep it at home. What? I'm all for helping people in need, 100%. Just the people that I have need for, I weed out the bullshit. And my moniker isn't, what country flag do you stand under? My moniker is, are you a good person? Are you truly in need? Because getting grifted the way we are, our skin is going to crawl until the end of time based on what's going on right now. We have used car salesmen trying to figure out how to screw each other out of each other's sales. That is, in a nutshell, everything that we're dealing with right now. I got a scathing letter. I think I want to do a mailbag section, and I want to show the emails that I've gotten over time and the commentary that I've gotten, because it's rich, man. Oh, is it rich? I have been told I'm the devil. I have been told that I will regret when Trump takes office for ever speaking out against him, because even though I have blue eyes and light skin, I'm not light enough for him. Literally the shit that I've read in my email. The most vile and disgusting nature of people have come out because of this man. The grifters are going to grift. Elon Musk had to get his angle. So during one of their Mar-a-Lago handshakes... Oh, by the way, you know what my favorite thing about the Oval Office since he's gotten there? They took out all of the recording devices, and they were like, they were spying on us. By the way, that has been in there ever since the fucking fireside chats with FDR. Because they've just worked it into the desk. And by the way, what they say is, when you take the oath of office, they tell you where all the quote-unquote bugs are. Ask Nixon. Nixon knew they were there. But no, the way that they wanted to paint the picture was they're spying on us to come up against us. No, they're going to hold you accountable for having discussions in the Oval Office, which, by the way, is where Volodymyr Zelensky was before they went out for the press conference. So he was trying to shake him down beforehand. If you watch him walk out, he's a little shaken. He's like, what the freak is this? Give me my AK-47, dude. I'll show you what's wrong with you. I just want to see him in a fist fight. Why is evil winning? It's winning so we never have it happen again. Did we learn our lesson with Napoleon? Nope. Did we learn our lesson with Hitler? Apparently not. Did we learn our lesson from egregious actions throughout our historic value? No, because we burned those books. We became empathetic to Idi Amin because he was just a nationalist trying to get by and he didn't want any opposition anymore. You know, we became sympathetic to Viktor Orban because he's a strong leader and he's able to take Hungary to a better place. You know, Joseph Stalin was, you know, had he had a little more foresight, he might not have killed everybody right up front. Might not have let Lenin get away from his genocide. We're better than this. It's the only thing that keeps me going. No, we're better than this. Know that the astrology has got to do its work. It's got to get into position. It's got to unlock the codes. Know that things like DEI, when used properly, are actually an incredible working mechanism to hire the best qualified candidate. They just might not be white. Having been somebody in the recruiting industry, I'm here to tell you that aside from the minutia of the DEI stuff, and there's minutia, cut out the bureaucracy of it. And as much as it looks like the Rooney Rule in the NFL that makes coaches or makes teams, franchises, consider at least 2 minority coaches in their search, believe it or not, does give them a best candidate. And, you know, even in this past cycle, how many black coaches were hired? 1, 2 of the 7. Okay. It's not so much about diversity as much as it is about being qualified. And what was happening, if you want a truly great country, and by the way, congratulations to Apple that did 2 things. One, their stakeholders voted on keeping the classic multicolored apple that represented the inclusion and diversity that was Steve Jobs. He was gay, everybody, even though he had a daughter. Figured it out somewhere along the lines. It's all good. Right? And then we recognize DEI as a policy. I'm choosing my words carefully. Quote unquote, makes you do the work. Because I'm here to tell you, as a white, blue-eyed guy, they wanted me to take. That was part of the reason why I got the job sometimes, because I looked like them. And then when I said, okay, well, here's another candidate. Ooh, do you think they're going to fit in culturally? You mean the guy with 2 doctorates, a master's, and 17 patents? Yeah, he's pretty okay. You know, I'm not hiring him for, well, don't we have diversity like in the janitor pool? I had a CEO of a publicly traded company say that to me once. Well, we think our diversity for our individual contributors are much better than for our C-level and management. Like, this is a pretty important job. Do you understand how much of an important job this is, Brandon? Yeah, I'm going to give you as a candidate the guy with a doctorate degree, 2 masters, and 15 patents. I'm going to put him up against anybody else you might find. Oh, right. He's from Nigeria. Okay. All right. So he calls it petrol instead of gasoline. What else you got? Oh, he doesn't speak. Actually, he taught English. He taught English in Nairobi. That's how he got through school. Oh, you're worried about. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, he went to primary school in Nairobi. And he Like it took him a few extra years because it was a little civil war going on. The warlords were taking over, so he didn't finish his secondary school until he was almost 20. And then he went to the University of Cairo where he got his bachelor's degree. Oh my gosh, and then he went to Stanford. I don't know if you've heard of Stanford before, but they're kind of important. And they have this like entire engineering department. And that's where he got his first master's. And then right. I know. I don't want you to kind of run into this the wrong way. And then he went to Kent State, which is like, okay, well, what is that? Well, he actually not only graduated with another master's degree, he also became in charge of the polymer program, which is kind of what this is a management. I think that he could be in charge of your polymer division, based on some of the things. Oh, he's still black. Yep, still black. That's his color. Can't change it. It doesn't say it anywhere, but based on all of the other information that we have, he's from Nairobi, for Christ's sake. Like get a grip. Oh, and he went to the University of Michigan and then got his PhD there, and he actually decided to teach. He actually went to a small company. You might have heard of it before. It's called Goodyear. And that's where he holds 12 of his 15 patents. Oh, by the way, the other 3 patents are actually to make road-ready oil, so that then it's not flammable in high temperature and lower density asphalt that they need to solve problems in Kenya because of all the bombs that blew up. He holds 2 patents that actually solve world problems. This is my candidate. They went with the other guy. You know, the guy that went to a Texas school that was part of some sort of, I think he actually went to Penn for a master's degree. By the way, that was a real interaction in a room 10 years ago for me. It was one of the reasons why I said, that's it, I'm out. By the way, that person didn't get a job at the other 4 other portfolio companies that were owned by the BlackRock company I was attached to at the time. And guess what? He opened his own place. He developed a polymer for windshields. Safe light repair, safe light replace. Look at Warrior Widow showing up. Like, don't forget to vote for Warrior Widow. You love it. All right, you guys got to get that out there. I've seen where DEI. I appreciate, the insight here with the DEI stuff, but people that wanted to get rid of it have never actually made a good hire. They make loyalty hires. And loyalty hires is just a setup for evil. It just is. It always has been. It always will be. It's the way it goes. Guys, I want to thank you for hanging in there. Oh, by the way, the guy is okay. I'm still connected to him on LinkedIn, and I pay attention to what he's doing. And by the way, he does send money back to his village. Free school lunches. Well, I'm going to go old school here. I'll close up old school. I'll wait till I freeze again because it seems to go in cycles. I'll fix this eventually. I'm going to get a new cord too. Who knows? I've got to freeze again. Or not. Watch me not freeze for 10 minutes. Right? It's the way it goes. But let me... there we go. I'm frozen. Here we go. I remember it well. I was just about 3. My dad said, "Son, what do you want to be?" It didn't ring no bell, but I said, "Daddy, I'm a bit too young. What do you want from me?" I'm grown up now. I'm almost a man. I can do anything. You bet I can. Raise a family, that would be grand. So sorry, but I've got bigger plans. Yeah? Oh, yeah. Yeah? Oh, yeah. The first things first. The first things first. I'm going to change the rules. Better listen up, all you boys in school. The Prez says there'll be no after school. So vote for me. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah? Yep. Now, I know there's problems in the Middle East. I'm going to spend all the money when I stop the arms race. I'm going to have myself a feast in the Middle East. And when that's done, I'm going to start on world peace. So come with me, they said. You know, I want to be your leader. What did I say? I want to be the leader of your country. So when I'm president, things will be different. We'll start a new government when I'm president. When I'm president, said I can be in your cabinet. I'll be your heaven sent. If you know what that's from, you have absolutely found more than words. I'm going to give you guys the hard taps, and I'm going to see you guys next time. Keep going. Chin up. Chin up. Let it all unfold. Got it? Keep going. By the way, that was extreme when I'm president. Enjoy that. Go look it up. It's